You are going to listen to a radio interview with a ghost walk guide. For questions 1 to 7, choose the best answer, A, B or C.
In the Talk About studio today, we have a ghost walk guide. Local man Alan Stanford takes groups of people round the town on guided tours, telling ghost stories about the historic buildings which are said to be haunted. Sounds like an interesting job, Alan.
Oh, it is. It's fascinating. I've been a tour guide before, but mostly abroad, and never here in my own hometown. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I've learned quite a lot about our local history since I started doing this a couple of years ago. Plus, of course, I get to dress up in period costume and tell lots of ghost stories in character. Acting and storytelling have always been in my blood, so I'm really just doing what comes naturally to me. I have a great time.
And how about those who actually go on the tours? Do they get frightened?
Well, obviously, these are ghost walks, so it wouldn't be much fun if there wasn't a bit of fear involved. Not too much, of course. We often have children in the groups, so we have to be careful. But people expect to be scared, and they'd be disappointed if they weren't. So we aim at least to give them goosebumps, and perhaps even a little fright, after which they all laugh nervously and enjoy the release of tension.
And how do you achieve that, giving them a fright?
Well, the mark of a good storyteller is the ability to hold an audience's attention, and that's not too hard to do when the subject is ghosts. You take the listeners into your confidence, create the right mood, make them feel safe with you. Then, just at the right moment, when they're least expecting it, you change the tone, give a shout, or let out a scream. And they nearly jump out of their skin.
Right, yes. And does it work every time?
Well, it does with most audiences. People who've been thinking about the ghost walk all day, maybe all week, wondering what's going to happen. These people usually respond extremely well. Some of the groups we get, though, come along as part of a surprise event. People like these haven't had time to reflect on what they're coming to. They haven't been given the chance to look forward to it, and the effect isn't the same. They don't normally have such a good time, unfortunately.
You mentioned dressing up and acting before. Do you have a variety of characters that you play, or just one?
Oh no, there are several. There's Lord Warwick, for example, a wealthy noble, the old sea dog Jake Redburn, John Simpkins, who's a servant. None of them actually existed, of course. They're all fictitious. The choice of character I play often depends on the route we take and the stories to be told, or also perhaps how I'm feeling that night and the type of audience I'm expecting. As with all acting, it adds a sense of truth to the whole thing, makes it more credible, so the audience becomes engaged in the tour and responds in a more positive, sometimes more frightened way.
One question I have to ask you, Alan. Do you believe in ghosts?
Regrettably, I have to say that I haven't seen any on the walks, or had any other paranormal experiences to impress you with. Some people in my audiences have said they have, and so have some of my friends, and I wouldn't dare dispute that or suggest they're imagining things. Ghosts are real for those people who say they've seen them, and who am I to say they haven't? The most I can say is that I have no personal evidence they exist.
And of the stories that you tell on your ghost walks, do you have a favourite?
Well, I particularly like stories which involve smells that some buildings are said to give off when ghosts are around. I don't want to give away too much here on the programme, but the one I enjoy telling most of all is about an old woman called Florence Hardcastle, who haunts the town hall. When she appears every now and again, the place absolutely stinks. Now, at first, some people thought it was a problem with the rubbish, but if you want to find out the real reason, you'll have to come along on the ghost walk.
We're curious now, Alan.